I'm Dr. Jason J. Campbell, and I want to thank you for taking the time to watch my videos. And the thrill of completing something. I love it. There's no greater feeling in this world than setting your mind to a task and doing it. And then the thrill of, not necessarily even the completion, but the recognition that this is the beginning of the end. This is the beginning of the end of the series. It's going to be cool. I thought I was going to do 5 sections, but conjunction is so short, there really is no need to formalize conjunction and make it more complicated than it has to be. So this will be the last installment. Section 4 will be the last installment of my introduction to the logic of argumentation. The whole point of this series, I mean, I did it really quickly. I don't have to read anything. It's sort of self-generated lecture series. So, you know, my own pace is the only potential obstacle, and really my pace is always at floor it. So I was able to get what I think is an extremely dense introductory lecture together, compiled, shot, uploaded, edited in a relatively brief period of time. But it isn't the duration of the lecture series, it isn't the speed with which it went up that is of any importance. Hopefully it's the quality and the applicability of the concepts to your own personal life, to your own personal research, to your own personal goals. Appropriating these concepts in a manner that you see fit, whatever that manner might be, at an introductory level, will help set a template for a very, 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 very small minority of you, maybe a handful at the most, of the countless thousands of people that will probably watch parts of this, to delve deeper and to do more sort of independent research on your own regarding sort of the rules of logic. Because for me, again, I don't use this in a mathematical sense. I don't use this to build stuff. I don't use this to analyze reality. I exclusively use logic for the construction of my own argument in defense of a stance that I believe in, or in the construction of an argument to attack a stance I don't believe in. I use this to persuade, to motivate, to mobilize, to galvanize. This is what I use logic for. And the whole point of the series is for those individuals who approach logic in the same way that I approach logic. Well, this series is dedicated to you. Another humongous shout out to Cynthia Feist. You're a rock star. None of this would have even been possible if I didn't have sort of a brief exchange with you regarding something that sort of just resonated. And I realized that I'd never exposed this bit of myself to the world for consumption. And obviously this is an introductory account. I mean, symbolic logic is sort of the beginning, right? I'm not going to do this, and I am not going to do this on a much deeper level. You would have to venture into that abyss on your own. But undeniably, I've definitely laid a very, very precise framework for how you go about doing this, how you go about applying this, and the amount of depth that you take is your own, you know. And as they say, swim at your own risks. I've braved many treacherous waters to be able to arrive at this lecture series, so I'm very, very happy to be approaching the end of it. I have to say though, hypothetical syllogism, the last section, section 3.0, was the longest of all of them. It was almost 4 hours, just that section in and of itself. In compiling the notes, I realized that the presentation of the information for the disjunctive syllogism, in and of itself, it's a very, very simple sort of rule of inference. There's nothing complicated about the disjunctive syllogism in and of itself, at all. What makes it complicated is that we've, for the past several hours, woven what is pretty much an airtight argument for the conservation of water, for basically the conservation of water. We've woven an airtight argument, albeit, you know, I wouldn't submit this to a publisher for publication, right? This is the purposes of me constructing this argument is to just sheer demonstration that it can be done, right? You need some finesse, which I'm not going to teach finesse. You have to learn finesse on your own. I just want to teach the structure and to prove that you can take a series of arguments, compile them into one coherent claim, beginning with logic and then ending with sort of the written language. But we don't begin with the written language. We began with logic. So it makes the disjunctive syllogism very, very complicated because, as you'll see in a minute, we have woven an argument and we're going to incorporate part of the disjunctive syllogism into that argument, and we're going to need to justify some of the things that we need to do. This will make sense in a little bit. And it made it very, very difficult for me to sort of compile the notes because it's a very, very difficult thing to explain. So if in all of the different sections of all 4 sections, I would say conceptually this is going to be the most dense section. Again, not because I want it to be difficult, but because the justification of a denial in part of this requires a sort of rigor, and I'm going to show you what that means in a second. So just, put on your thinking caps, really prep yourself for the final push, and then we'll be done. Okay, and then we'll be on to the next thing, right? There's no time for rest, right? It's we're done with this one. Okay, we're not time to relish in our victory lap. There is no victory lap. We got to go train for the next race, right? So, to begin then, section 4, middle of page 20. The justification for the denial of the disjunct 1, and I'll explain this in a little bit, so just read along, will make the use of disjunctive syllogism conceptually more advanced than the other 4 rules of inference that we've used up until this point. If after watching the lecture you are still uncomfortable with the use of the disjunctive syllogism, not in and of itself, because it's very, very basic in and of itself, but the use of disjunctive syllogism in incorporating and linking and weaving it into other rules of inference, or if you get more advanced, deductions or reductios that you've used, then just stay away from the disjunctive syllogism. Use of disjunctive syllogism in relation to linking it with previous arguments, by all means avoid it in the use of your analysis, right? So if you feel that what I'm about to do, if you're comfortable with everything that the several hours that we've done up until this point, then really, really try to just, conceptually prep your mind. And I don't usually do stuff like, I don't usually sort of give the pretext that this is going to be difficult because it discourages students, or just viewers, some of you are professors. It discourages viewers, it discourages the community. What I'm saying is, I don't want you to be discouraged, but I do want you to see that this isn't going to be sort of run-of-the-mill, right? This is going to be a little bit different. Let's look at the disjunctive syllogism. Well, first, what would be nice is to say, did I say hi, I'm Dr. Campbell, and I want to thank you for taking the time to watch my videos? Maybe I didn't. My brain is somewhere else, right? So this is an introduction. This is the final. Intro to the logic of argumentation. This is section 4, 4.0, and we're going to be using disjunctive which we're going to abbreviate as DS. So we're going to be using the disjunctive syllogism, which we're going to abbreviate as DS, and the syllogism is the following. Ooh, that's terrible. That blue is crap. Let's use green. Disjunctive syllogism is A or B, not A, therefore B. A or B, not A, therefore B. Right? So this is the form of the disjunctive syllogism. The example that I gave on the first page, if you watch the prerequisite videos, is either we'll go to the movies or we'll go to eat. Either we'll go to the movies or we'll go to eat. We don't go to the movies, therefore we go to eat. Super simple. So the question is, Dr. Campbell, why in the hell would you say that this is going to be complicated? This seems super simple. Either we're going to go out to eat or we're going to the movies. We don't go out to eat, therefore we go out to the movies. it's, again, I want to encourage that, right?